Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Welcome back. April 6th. 6th. April 6th. Thursday. Welcome back to the Man and Man Pod. I am one half of the show, Darius Butler. My co-host will not be in today. He is handling some business. Hopefully he talks about it on Monday, but it's some fun. It's some exciting stuff. Something I've done before. I have my own experience with it, and now he's getting his experience with it. So it should be a fun conversation to open up the show on Monday. Hopefully everything is going great for our guy AB over there, but I'll be holding it down solo for the next hour here on the Man to Man Pod, presented by the best sports book in America, FanDuel Sportsbook. We'll be referencing that sports book today, like we always do, but we'll be referencing it probably a little more today than usual because the 87th, I believe, Masters golf tournament is underway in Augusta, the biggest one. I will call him the granddaddy of them all, but I think that's the Rose Bowl's punchline, or tagline. But it is on. It's actually underway right now. Tiger Woods tees off, I believe, at 10:18. I'm still trying to figure out who I'm going to bet to win it all. Scotty Scheffler is obviously the hot hand right now. He's at plus 700. I think Rory's at plus 700. Those are the co-favorites right now. Tiger's odds aren't too crazy, but once again, we'll get into it. And I'm all in right now in golf. I'm gonna be real with you. I play the video game. I get out on the course a lot now. I forget what actually gave me that itch. Pause. But yeah, I'm out there. I put a lot of time into the range. Haven't started playing a 9 or an 18 just yet because I gotta still craft in this swing, keep my head down. Got to keep this left arm extended. Reach back, not up. Head down on the ball. Got to get that right hand around through, those hips through. Tips. I'm taking tips. I keep notes. I'll tell you what, though. I play a lot of basketball, play a lot of golf. Golf right now is a lot worse on my body for some reason. Got my groin, got my back, low back tight, and I got to get back on my PT. But anyway, we'll be talking about the Masters tournament a little bit of golf. We'll be talking about a little bit of NBA ball, obviously college ball. This is the first show back since Connecticut UConn Huskies, similar might to the foe. Fight, Connecticut is victory. Let's go, Connecticut. That's our fight song. Had to learn it as a freshman during training camp. Once you ended training camp, you had to get up there and sing it in front of the team to make sure you knew it. And then we sung this victory fight song after every victory during football season. So shout out to my Huskies winning our 5th championship since 1999. Obviously going to talk a little bit about that. Matter of fact, I had a boost during that national championship game with FanDuel Sportsbook. Tone, we need to put that graphic in there as well. But yeah, what else we got? Obviously, football is draft season. Duh. April 6th. That means exactly 3 weeks from today, I will be in Indy in the Thunderdome for the Draft Spectacular. 2023's Draft Spectacular with the Pat McAfee Show. That'll be fun. As usual, the draft is always special. The NFL is never truly in the offseason. You got a combine, you got a draft, you got training camp. You always got something with the NFL. So draft season is upon us. I expect with some trades, with some other things going on. Obviously, we're waiting on what's happening with Lamar Jackson. We're waiting to see what's happening with Aaron Rodgers. It's talks now of other teams potentially getting into the fold if the Jets and the Packers don't figure something out there. I'm sure other players will move as well. Where will OBJ land? Cam Newton, he put out his manifesto of quarterbacks that he would be a backup to, because that was the question. Would he be a backup? So maybe we can even talk about that a little bit as well. We got a lot to talk about on the other side. And you know when I'm here, especially when I'm here dolo, I love taking your questions, your comments, your concerns. I dropped a little hoop mixtape yesterday too. About a minute and a half, just pure buckets. On Twitter, I had a little voiceover commentary. On Instagram, I had just some of my little, favorite music. But nonetheless, it's buckets, So if you want to go check out some quality pickup, actually, no, not pickup ball, men's league. I'm chasing 3, baby. I'm chasing 3. The chase is on. I'm chasing 3. You know what I'm saying? I'm chasing 3. But y'all go check that out. But anyway, appreciate y'all rocking with me today on this Thursday, April 6th. Masters opening day. But yeah. Without further ado, I'll see y'all on the other side.
Butler. Darius Butler. Antoine Bethea.
Yo. Welcome back. Welcome back. Once again, Masters kicks off today. NBA basketball was a big game last night. I had another same game parlay. Didn't hit. I had LeBron James going for 25 plus. He did that. Kawhi Leonard going for 25 plus. He did that. LeBron James grabbing 6 boards. He did that as well. And then my final, and my 4th leg to hit this same game parlay that was around plus 400 on FanDuel Sportsbook. I needed AD to drop 25. AD was playing his first back-to-back in a while. He did not drop the 25. So that was my 4th and final leg, the last leg per usual that did not hit. Unfortunately. But the NBA playoff run is heating up, the push to the end. But before that, we got to stay with college ball, man. You see us. You see Nance signing off for the last time. Natty, 5th. That's 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Since 1999. And I had a good friend of mine, my football agent, Purdue grad, called me yesterday. Hey, man, I got a question. And don't tell me. I probably already know your answer. But do you really feel like UConn is the best college program over the last 25 years? You really believe that? What kind of question? Yeah. Why wouldn't I believe that? When did we fell off? Yeah, we missed the tournament a few times. But when we get in there, it's 40 minutes of hell, baby. When we get in that Final Four, I think our record is like 11-1 or something crazy like that. And then what's the record in our Natty games once we actually get there? 5-0, man. 5-0. Been in the Big East conference. You talking about 25 plus years. Think about the players that have come through that conference. Think about the players that have come through our university. And yeah, kids, growing up, at least my age, they wanted to go to the Dukes and the UNCs, and Kentucky had their run, Kansas, those other blue bloods. But people are asking, is UConn a blue blood? What kind of questions are these, man? Yeah, 5 since 99. Up there in Storrs, Connecticut, in the middle of nowhere. It's just us. It's just UConn. 11 natties from the women. 11. 5 for the men. Yeah. Damn right, we the best. Now, we didn't. The viewership was crazy. Crazy low, should I say, for this game against San Diego State. San Diego State, a lot of people didn't expect a good game. It started off ugly. It wasn't an entertaining game to begin with. So you got the men's and the women's. You got the men's and the women's. Women are breaking all kind of numbers. I believe they had 9.9 million tune into their championship game. And then we have 14.7, which was the lowest viewed of all time. But don't care. Don't care. We got the dub. We got the win. And more importantly, we got this win. And I need that tweet from FanDuel Sportsbook as well, because I had a boost for that Natty. It got boosted from minus 110 to plus 150 for UConn to score 70 plus and beat San Diego State. And obviously we did both. And I believe the sportsbook had to shell out over $3.5 million to the people that tailed this bet and won along with me. Going into it, I'm like, should I just go money line or should I lay a couple points on this? UConn hasn't been challenged all tourney long. But I went the safe route. I just went money line. I could have went, minus 3.5 was going to be my number. I believe he won by 12. I think, but it was a comfortable cover. So shout out to my guys, man. Shout out to my guys. They started off the season hot, fell off a little bit there at the end when I was on Pat's show and we had Reese Davis on, host of College Game Day for basketball and football. I asked him before the tournament tipped off, hey, we're in that West region. I think Kansas was the 1 seed over there. What are the chances we can make a run as a 4 seed to that Final Four? And Reese Davis said at that moment, hey, Darius, I got him in the national championship. Against his alma mater, Bama, Roll Tide. But, yeah, we took care of business, man. Shout out to Coach Hurley. Shout out to the guys that held it down and took care of business, man. Never a doubt. Absolutely never a doubt, man. But, yeah, are we the best? But Rip, Kimba, Ray Allen, Karan Butler, Rudy Gay, Shabazz Napier, Kimba Walker. Did I say Kimba already? Had some dogs come through that building. And Mecca Okafor, Ben Gordon. They had some dogs come through that building, man. Shout out to the guys. And obviously the girls as well. Paige Buckets will be making her return next year to the women's team. Kayla Clark. Hey, pull up the stores. Come get your revenge. Get your revenge on those LSU Tigers, man. Shout out to LSU, though. They held it down. They did their thing. Sticking with basketball, Lakers. That Lakers game. Lakers been hot as of late. When LeBron went down, made some moves, moved some things around, got some wins. They were fighting for that 6th seed last night against the Lakers. Took an L, I believe, for their 11th straight loss against the LA Clippers. But the question always is, can LeBron and the Lakers make that run? This is more so of a conversation I think I'm going to save for when AB is here. And that by the time we're back on Monday, I think some things will be, the picture will be a little clearer on that NBA side. We'll see. They were trying to stay out of that play-in, right? If you don't know, in the NBA, 7 through 10 seeds on each side have a play-in tournament for those last 2 spots in the tournament. So they couldn't get it done last night. But the Lakers look, and anytime Bron is in the playoffs, you're talking about beating him in the 7-game series. Him and his team, that's tough, especially with the way that Anthony Davis has been playing, especially of late. On that east side, the Bucks locked up the 1 seed. Giannis, honestly, he's made a hell of an argument to be an MVP again. Joker as well. But my vote, if I had one, would be for Joel Embiid. He just dropped a 50-piece a couple nights ago. He's been a dog all year long, been a dog last year. Think he could have won it last year. But what he does offensively, how dominant he is, and then also what he does on the defensive end, I think Joel Embiid should definitely be the league MVP this year. Now, let's fly through some of this before I start talking some NFL talk, a little bit of mock draft talk. The Masters once again starts today. You get some odds. See which odds, because right now you can get great plus money on everybody. You know, with the tournament just kicking off, anything can happen. Most of the guys haven't even teed off yet. So you can get your best odds right now on the guys to win. As the tournament starts to go on, people start to separate themselves, obviously. So I may place a bet early on, like right now to start. And then as this thing gets closer, do some live betting along the way. Live betting with golf is obviously the way to go with this. But like I said, I'm all into it. I don't know what took me so long. It's obviously a much better sport to play than to just watch. But once you play it, watching it is completely different, because now you really can appreciate and somewhat understand what these guys are trying to accomplish, guys and girls, how they're doing it, and then how impossible or damn near impossible it is for you to go out on the course and actually do that same thing. I went out we were at the range. Me and my brother went to the range a few days ago, and it was, packed. It was on Crenshaw. It was packed to the nines because it was Masters Week. It was almost like, New Year's Day, that first week in the gym, January 1st through January 14th. I'm sure gym membership skyrocket. The gym's always packed. You can't get any of the free weights. You can't do this. You can't do that. And it was just like that at the golf course. Everybody was there. Everybody had a tee time. Everybody was at the driving range. It was nuts. Let's look at these odds right now. Let's look at these odds right now on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Scotty Scheffler, once again, hot hand right now, plus 700, defending champ. Rory, plus 700 as well. So they are co-favorites, co-betting favorites right now. You got Jon Rahm. You got Jordan Spieth. Jon Rahm's at plus 950. Jordan Spieth, plus 1,700. Patrick Cantlay, plus 2,100. I hit my guy Tone Diggs, and this is the guy that he likes right now. Tony Finau, I believe how you say his name. He's plus 2,400 right now. Dustin Johnson, plus 2,500. I believe he's and the question is too, how are the live guys going to interact with the PGA guys? Can a live guy make a run at it without playing, as much golf as the other guys? And all those questions will be answered this weekend. You got Colin. Who else do I like? Is there a long shot on here that I like? Cam Smith get hot again. Max. Victor. I don't know. We shall see. Let me know in the comments who you guys got, who you guys have in the Masters if you're watching at all. Come on, man. Before I get to this NFL stuff, let me see what y'all got in the comments, man. Let me see what y'all got in the comments. I see some comments on the Cam list. I found it. I found it. No, we talked NFL. It's football. So it's always football season once again. We talked about Cam Newton once he announced that he was throwing and working out at Auburn's Pro Day a few what's that? Not even a few weeks ago, but a few days ago, I'll say. Once again, I feel like Cam has earned the right to continue to try to play, obviously, as long as possible. And we're going to talk about it until he's, completely done or he's back on the roster. Either can happen. Obviously, with his presence, with who he is, I think it would be very difficult for a team to bring him in for that backup role. Now, what I didn't see all the throws from the Pro Day. I didn't see how he looked as a passer. But I'm sure if he looked sharp, if he looked good enough, he'll get some calls and maybe some visits. We shall see. But you know how these teams are. You know how these decision makers are. You know how these coaches are with the buzz, the distraction thing, right? Will he come in and be a backup? Do we want him to come in and be a backup? He dropped his list. Off the top of my head, I thought once I saw it, I think I saw the list on Twitter before I actually listened to him name them all out. But when I saw this, I'm like, that's a odd, kind of a random list. No real rhyme or reason for this list at when you first see it. But then once I saw him run down, I believe it was Deshaun Watson, Tua, Justin Fields, Sam Howell, Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers. I forget. It's about 10 teams, though. And a lot of those guys were products of his 7-on-7 team and his 7-on-7 all-star teams and things like that. So I think a part of that video was also reminding everybody of the impact that he's had on the game, in which he has had a huge impact on the game. When Cam was at his peak. Oh, yeah, and 3 rookies, Anthony Richardson, C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young. You also say he would back those guys up as well. But when Cam was at his peak powers, I'm sure, he definitely influenced a generation of quarterbacks for sure. And he had an incredible career, MVP win, Super Bowl run, the injuries, and some other things. But, if it's all said and done, hats off to Cam for a great career. Got to respect anybody that's still chasing their dream. But it was definitely interesting to see him, name those guys, put that list out there. Somebody asked, we got a question right now. Actually, throw some questions in here. Throw some questions. It's quiet right now. It's quiet right now. You got some, sports stuff. We'll get into some mock draft. We'll talk about some players, some positions. Question right here from Daryl Owens with Boston Connor as his picture. Do owners, GMs care at all? Or I would say yeah, especially with that position. You always have. We've seen some players that we wouldn't expect get calls, or we saw Ben Roethlisberger come out and say the 49ers gave him a call last year and he was considering returning. My guy, who I got drafted with, Brian Hoyer, just signed another 2-year deal with the Las Vegas Raiders. And if he starts there any game this season, I believe this will be his 8th team that he would make a start for, which would be one team away from Ryan Fitzpatrick's record of 9 teams that he started for. So that's a position that GMs, owners, more GMs are always kind of tapped into. Okay, who are the potential guys that can come in here? We saw what happened in the NFC Championship game with the 49ers, against the Eagles. Brock Purdy was their 3rd starting quarterback on the season, I believe. He gets knocked out of the game. Josh Johnson comes in. He gets knocked out of the game, and they don't have a chance. Can't throw the ball. So that position is extremely important. So, yeah, I would say GMs, owners do care. And then it's a lot that goes into – it's more that goes into that even outside of football. But the number one thing is if you can play football and if you can help our team win 9 times out of 10, they're going to bring you in if they need you. Now, I think that 1 out of 10, we saw Colin Kaepernick, what he did, which was outside of football. And obviously the owners colluded on that. But that would be the 1 time out of 10 where, no, we know he's talented. And I'm talking about Cap a few years ago. Being this far removed from the game, I'm not sure. Not sure what he would do for a team now. But without a doubt, a few years ago, Cap was still a top, probably 40-something quarterback, at least. There was a lot of guys that were starting that were not as good as him now. Cam is saying, hey, it's still not 32 better than me right now. It's up for debate. But yeah, we shall see. We shall see how that all plays out. Another question. Lou Ink. D-Butt, don't know if you've seen this, but what do you think about Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, making his players earn their numbers? I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. And we everything is recorded now and put out there for content now. So we see a lot of this. When we were going through spring practice, nobody saw our spring practices, maybe some clips from the spring game, but nobody really saw us until it was training camp time and ready to kick off for that season. But I don't have a problem with this at all. This is spring football. This time of the year is all about competition. It's all about competition. This is where I won my starting job as a redshirt freshman in spring ball. You're doing your spring, you're doing your running workouts, and anyone who's been around or been a part of a college football program, how this is the time you have nightmares about when you're done with football. Training camp is hard, yeah, and it's hot, and you got pads on. And when I was there, we had 2-a-days and all those different things. But the spring ball, you got your slate of classes, probably your harder slate of classes. So you got to get up early as hell in the morning, 5-something in the morning, get these early workouts in. I was up in Connecticut, so it was cold. Sometimes we were outside doing shit. So this is all about competition. And when we were young, you had to earn your numbers. You had to be that dude to get a number. And I saw him his rant about the single digits. Agree with him wholeheartedly with that as well. Now, what I do hate about it is the fact that we see the clips, and I gotta watch the clips with these players with these baggy ass jerseys on with no numbers on them. It's just not a sight to see from my eyes. When I look at a player, when I look at the field, like it's all. And Deion said, "Hey, you look good, you feel good, you play good, they pay good, all that stuff." That shit don't look good. So if you're not gonna have numbers on the jersey, at least have them fitted, gripped up. I feel like the Jackson State jerseys look better. Maybe it'll change once the numbers are on there, but I don't have a problem with competing for numbers. That's something we all did. Deion's old school. Every time you hear him talk about coaching or parenting, he talks about how he is old school and how he had to earn his number. I had to earn my number. I went to college my first 2 years as a starter. I wore 28. And then my junior year, I was 1 because number 1 wasn't available when I, first signed on with UConn. But, yeah, I have no problem at all earning a number. Good question, though. Good question. Nick, is Cam too big of a personality to be a backup? Not if he can come and help you win. He is a huge personality. He just, when he walks in a room, his aura, his person, everything about him is just he's the main character. That's just what it is. He's the main character. So when you bring a guy like that in, it is tough. You won an MVP in his league, so yeah, you had your own signature shoes or signature clothing line. So yeah, it's tough for those guys to come in and be a backup for sure. But he came out and said he would be willing to do it. So if he can help a team, somebody asks, what do you think is the best fit for him? The Eagles, Philadelphia Eagles. If you really want to see if he still got it, you can bring him in for training camp. See if he can run that offense that Jalen's running. I think that was another quarterback on his list. I believe Jalen Hurts may have been a product of the Cam Newton 707 thing as well. But, yeah, that offense and Jalen Hurts, I don't want to take anything away from what Jalen Hurts did in that offense because most offense, it's a system, right? It's a system built around a quarterback. We saw the system that Tom Brady did for 20 years in New England be wildly successful. So, but that system that they've built around Jalen Hurts and that Jalen Hurts has been able to execute at an extremely high level all the way to a Super Bowl appearance. If he goes down and he gets injured and you got to play 2 games, you had Gardner Minshew last year who's now in Indy. Yeah, Cam could definitely be that. And it's personalities on that team. It's the Kelce's. It's Lane. It's a very veteran-led team, and then you got Jalen Hurts, who's a great young, stoic leader as well. So I think that'll be probably you ask whoever asked that, the best fit for Cam. I think that will for sure be the best fit. So that is the answer to that question. Boom. The Owens again. If Richardson is going at 4, do you see Ballard trading down and taking Hooker in the teens or the 20s? And how would you feel about it? I wouldn't be mad at that at all. I went on Pat McAfee show. What's today? That might have been. That was maybe Tuesday. Went on Pat's show and asked about who I wanted for and what I thought about the quarterbacks. I think C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young. I feel like those are clearly the top 2 guys. Everything you want in a quarterback at the collegiate level, they did. They won at a high rate. They made the right systems. Once again, they both executed their systems to a T. I saw C.J. Stroud firsthand. I was on the field for his last collegiate game against Georgia, who we know was back-to-back defending champs. Now, best defense in the country. Jalen Carter up front was going to be a top 5, probably top 10 pick. Ringo, Buller, you had future NFL pros all over that Georgia defense, and I watched C.J. Stroud with my own 2 eyes carve them up. I mean, he was tearing their ass up. In my opinion, if Marvin Harrison Jr. doesn't get hurt in that game, Ohio State wins that game. My opinion that I believe wholeheartedly. Now, as we know, if this were fist, we'd all be drunk. So it didn't happen, and Georgia went on to railroad the TCU Horned Frogs to win another chip. But I think C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, clearly top of this class. I think C.J. Stroud will go first. I think he goes number 1 to the Carolina Panthers. I think Bryce Young goes 2. And the reason I think Stroud goes 1 is because of his size. He has not necessarily prototypical size, but he has close enough to the size. I think him and Bryce, their arms are similar when it comes to, arm strength and zip and all these different things. They're both accurate. They both can move off their spot and do great things second reaction wise. But Bryce Young is much smaller. And a lot of these decision makers, they look at teams, they look at the talent, but they also look at, and some of them more so than even the talent or what the eyes tell them, is what do the numbers say? What do the analytics say? And not only with just this player, but across the history of the game. Bryce Young, 5'10", 200 pounds. How many 5'10", 200 pounds quarterbacks have been successful in the NFL? How many, what's Stroud, 6'3", whatever, how many of those quarterbacks have been successful? And you look at those numbers, and the numbers will tell you, hey, this guy's probably going to be more successful. So a lot of times they will go with that guy, and it's a lot more that goes into it. But that's a part of the reason why Lamar Jackson hasn't been paid the money that he wants either. Because, yes, players probably damn near unanimously will say, great player. Why wouldn't we build our franchise around this dynamic player? Fans would say the same thing. Coaches, a lot of them would say the same thing, especially defensive coaches will say the same thing about Lamar Jackson. But then when you get to the decision makers, the front offices, and the owners, those are the guys who don't know ball as much, but those are also the guys who are in control of who's getting the money and who's not. And they'll say, okay, how many times has this type of quarterback, has this play style lasted, for 4, 5, 6, 7 years, and how many championships has it won? So how does that project numbers-wise over the long term when we're talking about this money? And you better believe owners are involved in all of the quarterback talks at this point in the game. So I think that's part of it. But with that being said, Lamar Jackson should be paid. That would be option number 1 I would want as a Colts fan. We move mountains. We trade these couple picks. We get Lamar in that building. But if that doesn't happen, if we can't get that done, Chris Ballard, take Anthony Richardson. After those top 2 guys at the quarterback, you got Anthony Richardson, you got Will Levis. Anthony Richardson has all the tools, doesn't have great film, didn't have great talent around him. But on the film, you can see, so kind of like what you saw with Josh Allen, like, oh, shit, like, okay, it's something there. And these coaches, especially we got Shane Steichen, who, once again, had Jalen Hurts. hey, this guy, he's a natural. He does have a natural throwing motion. He is a natural thrower. He has an arm. And I think his accuracy, his completion percentage isn't great, but I think his accuracy can definitely improve over time with the right coach and the right personnel, the right system. And then his athleticism is obviously off the chart. So I would definitely take Anthony Richardson there at 4 if he's still on our board when we get our pick. Once again, if we can't get Lamar. But I would absolutely take Hendon Hooker over Will Levis to answer that question. I would not take Will Levis with a top 5, a top 10, a top 15 pick, honestly. I just don't see it. I don't see it. He would have to win from the pocket, I believe, at this point because his natural instincts at that position, the top 2 guys, CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, their instincts, great out of the pocket. Bryce Young, best instincts. Get off the spot, shit breaks down. I got to find a guy. Best instincts. Clearly, Bryce Young at the top. CJ Stroud after that. Richardson with his athleticism in the game in the NFL, it can definitely he can do some special things, I think. Will Levis, man, like when that play breaks down or that read's not there or something he thought was going to be there pre-snap, it doesn't happen post-snap. It's like a deer in the headlights way too many times. And that's a problem, obviously. So he would have to win from the pocket. What Levis does have going for him, though, and why a team will take him in the first round, I believe, is his arm. He has a cannon. He has a cannon for sure. And he also has a very compact throwing motion. And in the league, you're making a lot of throws and a lot of plays from tight pockets and tight spaces. So that helps when you have that compact throwing motion. But if you don't know where the hell you're going to the ball, you don't have the consistent accuracy, that doesn't matter. Once again, these coaches have egos. They feel like they can work with him. He will be a first-round pick. But if I'm in that spot at 4 and my top 3 guys off the board, Stroud, Young, Richardson, I'm trading back. I would be happy with Hooker wherever we take him. We took him at 4, I'd be happy with him. If we took him at 14, 24, I will be happy with making that pick and trading back to answer your question. But that's a good call right there. Good question right there, should I say. This is draft order right here for those of you who don't know. There's the latest mock from Lance Zierlein. Drafts a Kansas City issue too. So he has Bryce Young going 1, CJ Stroud going 4. Get this guy out of here. Why'd you even put that guy's mock? Get that shit all the way out of here. Let me get Daniel Jeremiah's or Bucky Brooks. I don't know what that was. I want to just erase that from my memory. Let's get these corners though. Bucky Brooks, top 5 corners. Devin Witherspoon out of Illinois, Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon, Joey Porter Jr., PZ Jr. out of Penn State, Cam Smith out of South Carolina, Emmanuel Forbes out of Mississippi State. Now, I like Deonte Banks a lot out of Maryland. I think he'll be a top 5 corner for sure. Joey Porter Jr., I like him. My top guy on this list, though, is Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon. And I'll tell you why. Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon, rare combination of size, speed, ball skills. Size, speed, ball skills. At that cornerback position, give me that. If that guy, and he has good football IQ, he ain't scary, he has confidence, all those things. Christian Gonzalez checks all those boxes on the field. He went to the combine and checked all those boxes as well. He will be my top guy. I don't see him making it past 7 or 8 in this draft. Devin Witherspoon is tremendous as well. Sticky, physical corner. Will hit you in the mouth too. Will absolutely smack you in the mouth and can change the the game from that standpoint. And I'm not a huge fan of it as a corner, especially in the league. Stay healthy, get out there and cover, get the ball, get your hands on the ball. That's what you get paid for. But Devin Witherspoon out of Illinois, physical, explosive, a little smaller on the small end, I think 5'10", 5'11", around 180 pounds, but is absolutely electric at corner. A dog, reminds me somewhat of my guy, Vontae Davis, who came out of Illinois back in 2009. But, yeah, Christian Gonzalez is my top guy in this draft at that cornerback position because of the things I mentioned: size, athleticism, ball skills. That the combination I said before? Did I say speed? Because he's got that too. He went 4.38 at the combine. So give me Gonzalez out of Oregon as my top corner. Joey Porter Jr., can't wait to see where he goes. Obviously, second generation. I know a lot of people in the chat probably feeling old right now with Joey Porter Jr. out there. But it's cool to see, Surtain Jr., J.C. Horn, like all these guys, man. But Jeez Louise, Tone. That mock draft, I can't believe that. What was that? Give me Mitts. I take Mitts mock draft for that. These are where Anthony Richardson is landing according to some of the best mock drafters out there. They ain't got Lance Zierlein on this motherfucker. I tell you that much. No offense to you, Lance. All right. No offense to you. But Daniel Jeremiah has him going 4 to the Colts. Bucky Brooks has him dropping to 20. Cynthia Freeland has him going 4 also to the Colts. Eric Edholm, 3 via trade with the Cardinals. And then Charles Davis has him going 4 as well. So that is, 4 out of the 5 have Anthony Richardson going to the top 4 and have him landing with the Colts. Now, I know it's got to be at least a couple of Colts fans here. How would you feel about that if it happened? Especially with our recent history of quarterbacks, that quarterback carousel. We've had Matt Ryan, we've had Phillip Rivers, we've had Carson Wentz, Jacoby Brissett, Scott Tolzien. It's been rough. It's been rough, but I'll take a chance with old Anthony Richardson at 4 for sure. And this is Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft 3.0 on NFL Network. He's got Young going 1, Stroud going 2, Will Anderson 3, Richardson 4 to the Colts, Jalen Carter 5 to the Seahawks, Devin Witherspoon, first corner off the board at 6 to the Lions. Now, the Lions took Okudah at 3 a few years ago at that cornerback position. Edge, Tyree Wilson out of Texas Tech, going 7 to the Raiders. And then 8 to the Atlanta Falcons. You got my guy, Christian Gonzalez. Then Peter Sharonsky out of Northwestern. And then the edge, Lucas Van Ness from the Hawkeyes going to the Eagles. So that's Daniel Jeremiah's latest mock draft. Speaking of drafts, stay tuned. Once again, I mentioned 3 weeks until the draft. As we've had guests on this show, a recurring question throughout our interviews have been, what's your draft story? And what was your draft story? Where did you think you were going? What round? What team? Did anybody call you? Did anyone say something? Did you were you already on your way somewhere else? Did you get pranked? Everybody has a different story. We've had, Stephon Diggs, Xavier Howard, Harrison Smith, Zaire Franklin. We've had a lot of guys on here, Plaxico Burrows, tell their own draft stories. So we're going to start clipping those up and putting those out as the draft approaches on the page, on the Man-to-Man page, on the YouTube page, on the IG, on the Twitter. So make sure you stay tuned for those. Those should definitely be fun. What else we got, man? What else we got? Let's see. Nick Riley Popovich. Any of these guys have Pro Bowl first year potential? I mean, shit, anybody you draft in the first round, especially when you're talking about those top 10 guys, that's why they're getting drafted in that top 10, to come in and make an immediate impact on that team, obviously, and hopefully be one of the best players in the league. You know, when Andrew Luck was drafted 1 overall, he was one of the better players in the league. Year 1, Cam Newton, same thing. I was a teammate of Cam Newton's his rookie year, and I was a teammate of Andrew Luck's his rookie year. These guys came into the league and had immediate I believe they both made the Pro Bowls, actually. Patrick Surtain, not sure if he made a Pro Bowl or not, but Sauce Gardner was a top 4 pick last year. He was a Pro Bowler, All Pro, I believe. Michael Parsons, you know, he went 10, I think. So I told you who my guy is. Christian Gonzalez, I think he has rookie year Pro Bowl potential. Will Anderson is another guy who I think rookie year he can come in and be a Pro Bowler. And then Jalen Carter, obviously, you know, he has some off the field issues that may scare some teams away, but the reports came out that his agent Drew Rosenhaus basically let all the teams know that are drafting outside of the top 10. If you know you're not drafting outside of the top 10, you don't have plans to potentially trade up into that top 10. I'm not wasting my clients' time with visits. Not even coming on the visits. If you're not in that top 10 or don't have plans to do so, we've always heard stories about this. Eli Manning was on Pat's show yesterday. He talked about how he had conversations with the top 4 teams. We all know, well, not we all know, we should know the famous Deion story at the combine, I believe, where he ran his 40 and then he left the combine and he was meeting with some teams, and I think the Giants gave him a big, thick playbook, told him to go over it and meet with him and come back or whatever. What pick are you guys at? I think they were at 9 or 10 or something like that. Oh, I'll be long gone by then. So a lot of these guys know at this point the ballpark of where they're going. You know, they kind of have a backstop of, okay, I'm not falling past this. And, you know, things always happen. We saw Lamar Jackson sit in the green room. We saw Aaron Rodgers sit in the green room. We've definitely, Geno Smith sat in the green room. We've always seen things happen on draft night. It still is somewhat unpredictable, but a lot of these guys have a pretty good idea of where they're going. Oh, excuse me. Question from the greatest podcast on planet Earth, actually. The Man to Man podcast. Shout out to my guy Tone. Easier transition to the league. Is it easier for offensive or defensive players in general? I wouldn't say it goes either way, honestly. Obviously, position matters. So playing quarterback, that's a lot to handle on any level, but coming into a locker room, being a starting quarterback as a rookie, you're automatically put in a position of leadership. A lot of these guys are going to have the C on their chest. They're going to be a captain. You know, Andrew Luck wasn't necessarily ready to be a captain of that locker room, right? But you're the starting quarterback. You are the leader in that huddle. You're the voice in that huddle. You're the voice in the offense. So guys are looking to you when games on the line, when things are going on. So you're in that position. So that's tough to handle. You always have to deal with the media day in, day out. So that quarterback position. But when you're talking about the X and O's of football, I think it really just matters what meeting room you go into, right? Who's in that meeting room to help bring you along? Do the vets want to see you succeed? How are you as a rookie? Are you coming in entitled? Are you an asshole? Do you think you don't have to listen to anybody because you're drafted in a certain spot and making a certain amount of money, and you know you're going to play and be that guy? So it's a lot of things that play into that. But as far as the X and O's, I don't think generally on either side of the ball. Once again, quarterback is that's just different. It's a different position, different things that come with it. But offensively and defensively. It's a tough transition either way, for sure. For sure. G.I. Joe 317, outside of quarterback, what is the toughest position in the NFL? We had this conversation with Stephon Diggs when he was on the show. Cornerback. I think cornerback outside of quarterback is the toughest position to play in the league. You put on that island, you're playing against the best athletes, some of the best athletes in the game, and you're obviously at a disadvantage. And then the rules are more and more in the receiver, not only the receiver's favor, but the quarterback's favor as well. The quarterbacks can't get hit the same, can't get slammed, can't get this, can't get that. And then obviously, they're ticky-tack with the calls, when it comes to receivers. So cornerback will be hands down the toughest position to play outside of quarterback for sure. There we go. Tone, best producer in the game. Stephon Diggs, episode 49. This Diggs has come on the show a few times. Episode 49, we talked about that. That was a really good episode. Probably one of our most viewed episodes, actually. I'm not going to mess his name up. But AB said he'd pick an elite edge rusher over an elite linebacker as a DB. How about me? Yeah, give me that edge rusher. Give me that edge rusher for sure. If it's not a quarterback, if I have a chance to take a blue chip edge rusher, that would be the next position because they just change the game. They make everyone better. Because the offense coming into the game, they have to know where he is. Sometimes that's keeping a back or a tight end in to chip him to slow him down. And what does that do? When you're chipping and slowing down that pass rusher, that's making it easier on the cover guys because now that's one less guy we have to worry about in the passing progression, right? We don't have to worry about Dalvin Cook getting out immediately in the pass game because he's got to stand and chip somebody. So that helps. Or a tight end, staying in there a little bit longer to get out. So now you don't have to worry about those deep vertical crossing or corner routes when he's in that position. So, yeah, that edge rusher, premium position right after the quarterback, in my opinion, as well. Daryl, what's hard to pick up, golf or pickleball? Golf for sure. Pickleball, you can figure that out. But that golf shit, tough. 5 more minutes, man. About to get up out of here. Appreciate y'all rocking with me today, rocking with the pod. What is it? April 6th. So yeah, and definitely not prime time when it comes to our sport that we love the most. But we do have the draft coming up. It's even a slow time for F1 right now. F1 is off the calendar, I believe, until the 30th. But yeah, I appreciate you guys rocking with us. Love watching high football. I appreciate that. Do you still think about coaching? Potentially some point down the line. I think it'll be somewhere down the line. As of right now, got a lot going on right now in this media space. Up to something season, as my guy Pat would say, is on full tilt. This is the off season. This is when things are getting worked out as far as how next season look. This past football season was huge for me personally in the sports media space. Learned a lot. Was able to experience a lot. And those things that makes you hungrier. It makes the vision a little more clear as well. Did things that I had no plans on doing. For example, calling the college football national championship. Like, we were on an alternate telecast. We had the mega cast with Pat and AJ and Connor, Ty, Tone, all the boys down there. calling the college football national championship on SoFi, which is wild. And a week before that, we were calling the Peach Bowl, Ohio State, Georgia, on the field with mics. Now, it's super tough to call a football game from field level, but an unbelievable experience. The experience I was able to get on ESPN NFL Matchup, doing that show with some legends, some OGs in the game. Sal Paolantonio, a lot of you guys are probably younger than me, but I grew up watching Sal Pal, on the TV everywhere doing his thing. So being on there with Sal Pal and Greg Cosell, who started the show back in 1984, 2 years before I was even born. He was a producer on the show for a long time, then went on camera probably 6 years ago. And then they brought me into the fold this year. And I was able to do my thing. So to see, kind of where it all started a couple years ago when I started making the Everything DB videos on Twitter or YouTube and putting those videos, and then to actually see, turn on ESPN NFL Matchup and to see my work, how it's evolved and how it's on those TVs. Actually, on the 10th, we'll be doing our draft show, where I'll be highlighting some of these players that I'm talking about now: Gonzalez, Witherspoon, Quentin Johnston, Jordan Addison, a couple of quarterbacks. All these guys, we'll be talking about them, me, Greg Cosell, and Sal Paolantonio on NFL Matchup. So obviously the podcast, the Man to Man Pod, we started this July 2020 with AB and I and Tone. And start our first few episodes actually shooting it remotely. And I'm in Florida. AB's in North Carolina, Pat McAfee Studios in Indy. Zito was on the ones and twos producing the show for the first few episodes. So, and now once again to see where we are now, doing these things. So it's been a special run. It's been fun. It's been everything, man. And obviously you guys are a huge part of that as well. So I thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. So coaching is always, it'll be in me. My oldest is playing flag football now, so I'm not on the staff, but I'm probably about 6 feet behind her coach, making sure he hears everything I say as far as their plays offensively and defensively. But at some point I get back out there. I still consult guys in the league and younger guys and things like that. At some point I'll get back out there, but right now, this media space, this is my lane right now. Ooh, first take. Nah, it's not my speed. I'm not a studio show type of guy, honestly. Not a studio, unless it's like a Pat type of vibe where it's like we just flowing, it's just talking, and where's this conversation going? It's real points, it's real this, is real that. I'm not interested in who has more pressure on him this season, Lamar Jackson or Aaron Rodgers, or tell me blah, blah, blah. That's not my vibe. But yeah, the sports media space is growing. It's fun. I like it. And I got more time too. I got more time with the family. I got more time to do other things and do other interests that I wouldn't be able to do, if I was coaching, because that is very, very time consuming. But we shall see. We shall see. Once again, man, appreciate you guys. Appreciate FanDuel Sportsbook for sponsoring the show. Appreciate Tone. Appreciate everybody. I see you guys Monday, and we should have a special guest on Monday. I know we had a bunch of guests during the Super Bowl week, which once again, another crazy experience, being on Media Row, having our show on a huge FanDuel stage, having some great guests that came through. That was dope. Like, a lot's happening, a lot of great things happening. But we'll start bringing some more guests back, and on Monday, we should have a big one that a lot of you guys in here are familiar with, and it should be fun. But we shall see. We'll keep our fingers crossed. But everybody have an amazing weekend. AB's not here to say it, so I'll say it. Get your 30 minutes in. Get your fat ass in the gym, or get your skinny ass in the gym, or get out there and walk, get out there and run, do some yoga, read a book, do something, man. Get your 30 minutes in a day. physically, mentally. Spiritually, whatever you got to do, man. Take care of yourself. You know what I mean? Loving yourself. It's important. All right, it's important. You are enough. Okay, that's the message for the day. If you don't take anything from the day, loving yourself, man. And with that, we out. We'll catch y'all on Monday.
Darius Butler. Antoine
Sorry, I'm a body shamer. I body shame. I'm sorry. I body shame myself. So if I can do it to myself, I can do it to anybody else. I'm sorry. Sue me, but not actually. All right. Love you guys, man. I'm out.